everybody, and welcome on in to your favorite podcast, my absolute favorite podcast, Arcade Parlor.
Arcade Parlor.
We're here.
Are we doing the thing?
We're doing the thing.
Are we doing the thing today?
That's on you. That's on you. You just gotta follow the cues. You just gotta follow the cues.
I tried.
Welcome in, everybody. This is episode 27. Today's date of recording is November 9th, about 3:45 p.m. Eastern. And we are live on twitch.tv at the moment. So we want to say hello to those who are catching us live right now, and also hello to those who are listening to this on episode release, which should be November 11th, unless, of course, technical difficulties. So thank you to everybody who's joining in with us. We love our listeners here, and we're very grateful, very grateful for you. This is episode 27. We got a cool episode lined up here. I'm looking around the room. I guess I feel like I should maybe intro myself first every once in a while. I'm the first voice that comes through. I know. I go around the room and then we'll start talking. Be like, wait. Maybe I should tell people who I am. I'm the one who talks the most here. Hello, it's me, Pancho Taco, David, whatever you want to call me. I am your host for this episode here, as usual. I'm looking around the room. I'm once again joined by Ashley. Hello, Ashley.
Hi. Hello, Pancho Taco.
Hello. How are you doing?
I cannot believe 27 episodes. That whenever someone has a 27-month sub to me, I'm like, oh, it's 3 sub babies. We had 3 sub babies. This is 3 podcast babies today.
Yeah. 3 podcast babies. That's weird.
It is kind of weird. We're almost at 2.5 years. I just can't believe, I'm proud of us. We never missed a month. We've been consistent for over 2 years. I think we're putting out some great stuff.
I like to think so. I like to think we are.
It's pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Thanks.
Yeah, we're pretty good here. We're pretty good here. Ashley, it's great to have you on here. What's going on with you? Anything new going on for you these days?
I think that probably the most exciting thing in my life right now is that this Friday I think I might take the day off of work Friday, which I've been at this job for 6 months. I don't think I've taken a true day off ever. And I might go get me a little car.
Just a casual, I'm going to take today. I'm going to wake up. Today's a car buying kind of day. I'm just going to get up and go buy a car.
I have been working on my finances all year. I haven't had a car for 2 years. So I lived in Rhode Island for a couple of years, and I was like, I'm ready to move home. And instead of saving up my money for a couple months, I was like, I work from home. There's Uber. I don't really need a car. I sold my car, took the money, moved back to Florida. Amazing, right? So happy to be here. And then a couple months in, I was like, there's Instacart, there's Uber Eats, you can get your groceries, whatever. So I'd get my groceries and I'd go to make dinner and be like, oh, they forgot my onions. Oh, I could really use such and such an ingredient. And I was like, I need a car.
Yeah, whenever you said you didn't have a car the first time, I was like, what do you mean you don't have a car? How do you?
Yeah.
I don't if I didn't have a car, I was like, could I live? Could I work? Could I go do anything? No, I need a car.
It's been interesting. I really thought Uber would be great and that it would be awesome. But you know what it is? It's if I go to a family function, right? And I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta wait for
and sometimes my brother will pick me up. What an angel. He doesn't have to do that for his big sister, but he does. And then I'm a jerk if I take an Uber because my brother offered, and I'm just trapped there. So I don't want to be trapped at the family functions no more. I want to come and go as I please. And my goal this year was to have a car by Christmas. And I'm ready this Friday. I'm ready Friday to go look at cars and hopefully drive off the lot.
I was gonna say, do you know? I was gonna say you don't not necessarily know exactly what car you're getting, but You know what kind of car you want?
I have never had an SUV before, and I have no need for one, but I've always wanted one. And it's my car. I've
You know what's funny? I don't know why this is a girl thing, but I think this is a girl thing to want a cute SUV. I don't know, like
maybe
it doesn't make logical sense though, right? Because it's like at least with guys wanting trucks, it's like, yeah, they just want to be like macho or whatever. It like kind of makes sense. But I was like, it's not like SUVs are like super feminine, but like so many girls just really want SUVs for some reason.
I think you're right. I've had 3 cars in my life, all Toyotas, all Camrys and Corollas. That's all I've had. So I'm very short. I'm 5'2", and I'm always like struggling to see above like the steering wheel and stuff like that. So I think that being an SUV would be nice because I'd be up high. I want a sunroof. Like, I'm getting a used car. I've never had a new car, and I know if I got a new car and I dinged it, I would never forgive myself if I messed up a new car. But if I get a used car, you know, you do a little ding, you run over a curb, you know, Ashley style driving things. I won't get mad at myself because it's a used car. So I'm kind of just gonna see what's available. Go to my same dealership I always go to, and we'll see what's available Friday. But hopefully next podcast, your girl's gonna be driving around Florida. Watch out, y'all.
Doing her podcast live from the car.
Right. Just because she can. She has a
yeah,
car
just
now.
car
So
seat
I'm
behind her.
just gonna broadcast the podcast from here. Yeah.
Getting my money out of it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's the most exciting thing going on in my life right now. I just cannot wait to be able to have the freedom to just, I know it sounds so silly, but to just hop in the car when I need to and do what I need to do.
Buying a car is like, I just hate nobody enjoys buying a car, right? Like the whole process of, I mean, I think you told me you're doing
getting
kind of
a
like
car.
Yeah.
I think you told me you're kind of like doing like an online purchase type deal, right? Or are you going to an actual dealership?
I think what I'm going to do is literally Friday, I'm going to look at what I was thinking about Carvana. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I always go to CarMax. Like that's like, I've always had good experience with them. And I don't know. They're both like no haggle. I can't haggle. I don't know. I need my dad usually. Like when I've never bought a car without my dad present. And this time I'm doing it by myself. Like, I'm 36 years old. I'm buying a car by myself.
That's like the most dad thing. Like, oh, you're buying a car? Let me come over here with you. I'm going to come over here with you and negotiate. And you're getting a good deal here.
And listen to this. Ready? A couple weeks ago, I think, I was like, you know what? It's not payday yet, but I found this car and I loved it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get the car. I'll if I have to move some money around, whatever, I'm just going to get this car. I was like, but let me just ask my dad. Just let me show him the car. Let me show dad the car. Right. Mm-hmm. So I call my dad. I'm like, hey, dad, I'm sending you this car. Take a look at it. And he looks at the car. He goes, oh, Ashley, you can't get this car. I was like, oh, come on. I really thought everything through. I thought everything through. He goes, do you know where you live, Ashley? I was like, yeah. He's like, I was like, at Florida. He's like, you can't get a black car in Florida, Ashley. You know how that's going to heat up.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a convection oven in there. Mm-hmm. Every time you get in there, you're going to be sweating and your seatbelt's going to burn you and your paint's going to peel. He's like, why don't you think you see black cars anywhere? I was like, dang it. I thought of everything.
Yeah, as a Texas resident, I second that message.
Okay, see?
You don't get a black car in the South.
Well, I've owned a black car one time. Actually, I leased it. I leased it. This was before I ever purchased a car. I leased a black Chevy Cruze. I don't know, back in like 2014, maybe. And I will never get a straight black car again because the reason why, the second you get it clean, you take it to a car wash, within 5 seconds, it's dirty again. Like it's never clean, and it like kind of bugs you. Like I'm not a person that like really cares. Like, okay, I don't really want, I'm not somebody who gets like a car wash like every week. But like when I get a car wash, I kind of want it to look clean, at least for a little while, longer than like 10 seconds on the road. So it's like it's impossible to keep clean. Like a white car is easier to keep clean than a black. The black car, just everything shows on it.
My last two cars were white cars. I will never get a white car again. I love the look. My favorite movie of all time is Clueless. and Cher has that white Jeep, and that's like so I was always like, I want a white car. I want to be like Cher from Clueless, and it is awful. I like my car to look clean, and I'm one of those people that I'll get a car wash every week because I don't want my car to look gross, and it just never worked. It just never did. My car always looked dingy and dirty. So yeah, I'm looking now. So here's when you go into on these sites, right, to look at cars, you can plug in like features that you want, and this is what I'm plugging in. I'm only looking at Japanese cars because I've only driven Toyota. So I've driven Toyotas and Hondas in my life. I want a Toyota, a Honda, Hyundai, or a Nissan because that's all I've ever touched in my life. And I'm looking at SUV and silver or like charcoal. I only want to get a silver car. My first car was silver. It was a boat. It was my grandfather's old Camry that I had, and that thing never looked dirty. It looked spotless, even if I didn't wash it for 3 months. So those are my requirements. And as long as it gets me A to B, that's what I want.
Nice.
I actually agree. We have our SUV now. It's like a gunmetal gray, and yeah. It looks clean all the time. Although ours came with like black rims, and those look kind of dirty sometimes.
I saw your black rims when I visited you, and all this. It's the snow, like it just like all the snow dirt like gets all over everything. So I hear you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, good luck on the car purchasing. I've never done like a Carvana or CarMax or anything. I've always done the old fashioned. You go in. And you try to stand your ground, and then you realize you don't know what you're doing, so you just end up paying what they tell you to pay, basically. Yeah. So
I can't do that. I have no negotiation skills whatsoever. So
yeah. Well, good luck with it. Hopefully, you find what you're looking for, because that's coming up pretty quick. That's exciting. As annoying as the whole process is, it's exciting at the same time getting something like that.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely.
Good luck with that, Ashley. It's great to have you on episode 27 of the podcast here. And I also look around the room, and we are joined once again. Not our first time. In fact, this is our first repeated guest.
Yeah.
MrMightyMouse.
Howdy. I realized I was talking for a long time without ever saying my name, but surely everyone listening has just been listening for 13 months straight at least and remembers me.
Oh, yeah,
no need to do introduction. No.
Definitely. You are our guest 19-ish, guest number 19-ish, because technically you were our ninth number. I was looking at the numbers. I was like, okay, we had you were our ninth guest 14 episodes ago. That was last September of 2023. That's a long time ago.
Wow.
That's wild. Yeah,
I know.
It's been a bit.
Yeah.
I like to think I'm a different person now than I was then. We can count me as a new guest. I think it'll be fine.
I've changed.
I'm a new man.
New. Well, I was about to say new year, new me, but no, that we're well into 2024. That's.
Hey, we're almost in 2025.
I know, we're almost there. We're almost there.
Man, Lord, am I ready for a new me?
No.
Man.
Oh,
time is weird. I don't understand time. But
yeah.
Here we are. 14 episodes later, rejoined by Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse, it's great to have you back on here. I've been looking forward to having you on and catching up. I know a lot of things have happened recently for you. Some cool events you were at and stuff like that. So really interested to, talk to you about your experience and stuff like that.
Nice. Well, it's nice to be back on too.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get going into like video games and stuff, I'm curious about you. I'm gonna put the question out to you guys first, and then I'm gonna talk about my side of the story. Is there like a movie you guys have ever just like put off for some unknown reason that you just didn't watch, and then you decided to finally watch like years later after everybody else has watched it, and it's like truly like an incredible movie? Like think about that for a second. Because I just watched one Thursday night, so this would have been 2 nights ago. I had this. Okay, let me put some background on why I decided to watch this movie. about a little over a month ago, I traveled to New York for work. And on the way home from New York, the person in front of me on the airplane was watching a movie. And I was like, this movie looks pretty good. What is this? It's clearly like an older movie. I'm like, what movie is this? Like, okay, it's something to do with the mafia. I can clearly tell that. It's a mafia movie. And like,
you may have the same answer as me then, because there's only like one movie that I thought of that I haven't. That I was like, why did I not watch this for a million years?
There's two mafia movies probably that I think anybody could maybe connect the dots on this right now. We'll see if it's the same one though. And I was watching, I was like, okay, I'm taking mental notes. Okay, mafia movie. Okay, somebody's name is this. Somebody's name is this. Somebody's name is this. Okay, I'm taking like mental notes. Okay, oh, I recognize this actor. Okay, with this actor. Okay, I'm gonna go as soon as we land. I'm gonna Google this. But before we landed, the person did like pause the screen and then like shows the movie title at the top and stuff like that. But 2 nights ago, I finally got around to watching Goodfellas. I had never seen the movie, and it's like 80s movie. I forgot the year it came out. 80s. Yeah,
pretty sure I think it's 90. I could be.
Is it?
It's all I know is I was watching it and I was like,
you looking?
I've talked about it here on the podcast, at least on stream, how much I like The Sopranos, a great TV show. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching this movie. I'm like, this is like a really long episode of The Sopranos. This is great. And like half of the actors are in The Sopranos. Like I feel like I'm just watching The Sopranos at this point, just minus James Gandolfini. And I'm like, it like literally half the cast is on The Sopranos too. And I'm like, this is awesome. And like, anyway, the movie was great. Based on the true story and stuff like that. Some names changed and stuff. But overall, I was like, man, this is a movie like I put off. Like everybody's heard of the film Goodfellas, whether they've watched it or not. Everybody's heard of it because it's like, I don't know, it's Martin Scorsese. He directed it or wrote it. I can't remember. Yeah. He did something with it, which of course, if his name's on it, it's going to be a good movie. And I just never got around. I was like, man, this movie's good. And then so that got me thinking for the podcast. Like, do you guys have anything like that? Like a movie that you just like put off? We can even broaden it up to like a TV show or something like that. Like something you put off that you're like, why did I ever put this? Like, this is actually good. Like, what the heck?
I was going to say Godfather was the one that came to mind.
I wondered if that's what you were going to say.
But that's also because like, I feel like Godfather is not a young person movie.
No,
it's not like
I agree.
High schoolers aren't like diving at the chance to go watch Godfather. I think the one show, there is a show that I put off watching that I'm like, I've never heard anything but rave acclaims for this show. And it's not like a super long show. Why have I not watched this? The Wire.
Oh,
okay.
I was like, why have I not watched this? I just grew up hearing so many people be like, this might be the best television show of all time. Why have I not? And it's not crazy long or anything. It's not like Game of Thrones, go watch 8 seasons.
It's only like 5 seasons, I think, or something. Like The Wire, it's relatively short.
It's so good.
And because it's HBO, great. It's only like 10 episodes each too. So
yeah,
relatively low commitment.
It takes a bit to get started. Like it's a little slow moving to get started, but it's so good. Once it's up and rolling, it's up and rolling.
Oh yeah.
What year was Goodfellas, by the way?
I just looked it up. 1990.
Of course.
The Godfather was 1972.
Yeah.
Now I'll admit, I have not seen The Godfather either.
Oh, blasphemy!
I haven't.
I feel like if you're going to have watched it by a certain point, like you like those kind of movies, you've probably already watched it. And like if you don't like those kind of movies, you probably haven't watched it. Like it falls squarely into that category of like Citizen Kane, where like, supposedly it's a great movie, but like if you don't like watching these like slow pacing kind of older movies, you're just like, you're not going to enjoy that.
I have to be in the mood. Like there are times where I'm like, I'll watch that,
they're also like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Like, they're so long.
One movie that comes to mind that kind of fits that bill. It's slow, but like it kind of fits. I don't know. It picks up later in the movie is Stephen King. Why am I totally blanking out? The Shining. The Shining for me. Like, it's a slow movie. It's got the old like style of like, long panning shots. And it's just like, nothing truly happens to like maybe halfway through oh, this is exciting suddenly. But like the movie's amazing. And I have to be like in the mood for like a film like that. And every once in a while it strikes. I'm like, I'm going to watch one of these.
The whole first half of that movie's like just me repeatedly going, wait, that's weird. What was that? Yeah. For like half the movie. It's brilliant. Then like it starts kicking off.
It's brilliant.
You're just like, that was a weird shot. What just happened there? Like, why were we focused on the bar for like 30 seconds straight?
Exactly.
That's Kubrick for you.
Now, Ashley, I feel like when I brought in this up to TV shows, I feel like I wasn't thinking, but I was like, oh, of course, now I know what she's going to say.
No, you're wrong.
You want it? No, really? Okay.
You're going to kick yourself.
You probably know what I'm thinking, though.
You're thinking Sopranos.
Yeah.
But that's not what I was going to mention,
even
though it's worth mentioning.
That is true. Yeah.
It is true. I just watched Sopranos for the first time this year. My dad thanks you. It's like, I think, like, listen, I come from, my family's Italian. It's no secret. Like, my dad had me watch The Godfather in my teens, and he was like, "This is our people. You need to watch this." And I was like, "Okay." And I hated it so much. I hated it so much. I watched all 3 Godfathers. I was like, "What am I doing? This is terrible." So like, I never had that love for them because like my dad made me watch it. But I always knew my parents like had watched Sopranos and they absolutely loved it. So I ended up watching it at Poncho's recommendation because when you were first watching it, Ponch, you would come into my stream and you'd be like, "I'm watching your family history right now."
I'm learning about your family right now, and you knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, and I'm still watching it through for a second time. I'm not a big TV person. I don't watch a lot of TV, to be honest with you. But I saw a dear friend of mine in the chat. I peeked over, who knew exactly what my answer was. Someone who's been with like watching and hanging out with me from since the beginning. And it's because of you again. It's Lord of the Rings.
Oh, right.
It's the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I had never seen until the end of last year because of you, Ponch, because you played all 3 of them for different movie nights in your Discord because you do a monthly movie night. And I had never seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
3 movie nights that month to because we were like, we got to watch. We're not going to wait. We're not going to do 3 months in a row. We're just going to knock these out because
Well, I think the running theme in all of these movies and stuff is time commitment. Lord of the Rings also very long movies.
And they were all extended editions too.
I think it's easy to not watch something when you realize that like it's going to require you to sit down for like 3 hours straight.
Yes.
And you're just like, maybe next time I'm just going to watch this hour and a half, 2 hour movie that I love.
Yeah. I was actually talking about that last night on my stream. I was like, my wife and we want to watch it. And we have not watched Oppenheimer. I almost said Barbenheimer because of the meme. Wow, I almost said that like without meaning to.
Unironically.
Yeah. Oppenheimer. And like every time we're like, okay, hey, maybe we could watch that tonight. And then we go, we get the kids in bed, and then we're like, that's right, this movie's like 3.5 hours long. We're like, let's just put on, I don't know, let's watch a couple episodes of New Girl or something like that instead tonight.
Yeah.
So the good thing for me with Lord of the Rings, right, is there's so much Lord of the Rings in pop culture, and I knew nothing of it. I went into it, when I tell you blind, I didn't know even who Frodo was. I didn't know anything. I knew who Gandalf was. That's the only thing I knew, and I knew nothing else of Lord of the Rings. I've never read a series like that. I have never watched a movie series like that. I'm not a movie buff anyway. There's just so many classics I've never seen. I didn't grow up in a big movie family. So I'm so thankful I had 0 spoilers for it, and I had nothing. I didn't know what to expect, and I went in with an open mind because I was laughing, I was crying, I was really there's no other words I can think of besides I was just so taken aback by what I had seen. It was like, you bow to no one. Come on. Yep. I was literally bawling my eyes out. It was such an amazing. I want to rewatch them actually before the end of the year. And I have to read the books one day too.
Time to bust
like,
out the extended edition versions.
Yes.
I gotta, because
that's what we watched. We did watch extended. Yes.
They are life changing. I cannot explain enough.
Did you recognize any memes? Because I feel like
I
know so many memes from that movie at this point that we don't even think about.
Yeah.
The one with Baggins.
I have no memory of this place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was a lot of memes.
One does not simply. That's got to be one of the biggest ones.
I didn't even know that was Lord of the Rings. The whole time I seen that meme, I never knew where it came from.
There's a lot of Lord of the Rings is like all throughout pop culture, even 23 years later. Wow. 2001 is when the first movie came out. Like 23 years later, like these movies are still like in regular like pop culture memes or like TV and stuff like that. Like it's they had an impact.
It's pretty crazy.
They had an impact, and then
then
they tried to do the Hobbit series, and I don't know. It's something
I heard.
Speaking of movies I haven't watched, I'm good though on those ones.
Me too.
Yeah. The Hobbit. It's a cute story. Like it's a cute story. Like it's a
tiny book.
Yeah,
it's so tiny.
Its intention is like for more like children, and the writing style is definitely different than Lord of the Rings because of that reason. And it's a small book. The story is great. Like it's a really, really fun story. It's not overly serious like Lord of the Rings. It's a lot more silly and goofy with all the dwarves and stuff like that, all bumbling around and stuff.
Could have been one movie.
Yeah, exactly. Could have been one. I know originally, I think when they announced it at 2, and then for whatever reason they made it into 3. And 3. Get this though, 3 movies wasn't enough. After it came out on Blu-ray, they decided to release extended versions of each movie as well. So all 3 movies, there's an extended version of each movie.
They wanted it to be another Lord of the Rings series, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they made their money easily based off of the property. And I did see all 3 like opening weekends and stuff like that, but it was nothing compared to the original trilogy.
I would love to see them in theaters. Honestly, that's a movie. Like if it went to theaters near me, I would totally watch extended Lord of the Rings in theaters. That'd be an awesome experience.
They were good in theaters. They were nice. Yeah. Pretty sure I saw all 3 in theaters.
Yep. They were pretty life-changing for me.
Mm-hmm. And then everyone, I don't know. I hear every once in a while rumblings of some type of remake. I'm like, we're good. We're good. You gave it one shot, and they were like the best.
No, it's original.
Just go make another mediocre show instead of another movie.
Yes,
fine.
They're like the best adaptions that we've had of like book to film. Outside of like, I would say the only other like movies that I've seen that are maybe as accurate to the book are maybe like the first 2 Harry Potter movies. Like they're pretty word for word to the books. But other than, I mean, like Lord of the Rings, I mean, obviously they chose to leave some stuff out, but I think they made sense for film. Otherwise it would have been like boring to watch. So, which I know some people don't share that sentiment, but
people love Tom Bombadil, but then like, nothing really happens in the story around there. Like they would just meet this really weird guy and then move on. And then people who haven't read the books were like, the hell was that?
Yeah.
Like, there's a weird dancing guy. What was that?
He's apparently really strong though. He's the most powerful person hidden. Anyway,
enough nerd talk.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings. Yeah. I mean, I could talk about Lord of the Rings all day. There's those movies are great. Everything, but yeah. We have a podcast to attend here too. What the heck?
I guess. We should probably talk about video games at some point.
Exactly. Mighty Mouse, it's great to have you back on here. There's a couple things that has happened to you since last time we had you on here. One thing I figured that maybe we could talk about was you were at GDQ racing a well-known hack everybody listening has heard of this hack. There's no way if you're at all plugged in with Mario on Twitch, you know what I'm talking about. Grand Poo World 3. You actually went to GDQ and raced it in front of the live audience. You had Barb sitting behind you, commenting and everything. You want to talk about like your experience? Have you been to GDQ before? Was this your first time?
I have, yes. So it was my 4th run and my 2nd live run, because my first 2 runs were when it was still doing all remote during the pandemic.
Oh.
3rd run was Celeste at SMC, and this was my 4th run. So no, I mean, I honestly, there's a lot of things that were really, really lucky about it. Like lucky to get Barb and Pooh both on the couch because they're like big streamers. Like it's really hard to get Barb and or Pooh to go do like anything. Like Barb's too busy. But Andy has twins.
Yeah.
But so like that was impressive. I kind of not strong armed a little, but I was like, it is probably the last time a Grand Poo World game will be run. Like could be a nice little send off, You could like I was like, plus it'll just be fun, But no, it's a long run. Whatever I run next is not going to be that long.
How long was it? Like over an hour, right?
Oh, it's like the estimate, because it got upgraded to all exits, which I knew it was going to.
Right. And the reason you want to tell people why it got upgraded, like how that happens and stuff.
So at GDQ, a lot of times they have like run upgrade incentives because it's a charity. They're trying to raise money for donations. So like they'll be like, hey, if you donate this much or we meet this milestone, they can do it a couple different ways. We'll upgrade so-and-so run to this. So it started off as any %. And I think it was 2 million was the milestone. It was something where I was like, the run before it was like a pretty big run. I was like, okay, we're 100% meeting this. Like it was set to be meet, thankfully. But no, it's like an hour 45 estimate for all exits.
Yeah.
It's a like for Kaizo runs, that's incredibly long because you're just Kaizo takes a lot of focus to play. So you're like super hyper focused for an hour and a half plus.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot.
And not necessarily your run at GDQ, but what is your best time? Like when you've been practicing and stuff, do you remember what your best time was?
All exits. I don't actually remember. It's 2nd place because, Stu. But
sure.
I don't have the time that he does to dedicate to it. But 2nd place. I have 2nd place.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. It's like an hour 25. It's somewhere around there.
So good.
Okay. It's
also now been like when did I run it? Early July.
Yeah,
is when I think it got ran. So we're like half a year separated out from it too at this point.
In fact, I think the hack came out a year ago next week.
Yep. I think it came out in next week?
Yeah, I think it was November 17th or something.
Yeah.
It got delayed. Yeah, it got delayed.
My goodness, can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah. So
almost a year.
So you're up there. You go to GDQ. It's in person, so you're up there on stage, right?
Yeah.
And you have Barb behind you. You have Pooh behind you as well. You're mic'd up. You got headsets on. You got other people talking to you. Like, what is that like? Like being up there and playing it with like, there's a certain amount of pressure, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of a mix of things because obviously it's a live event. There's always pressure at a live event. But I also have Barb and Pooh behind me. So like a lot of times, like especially if like you'll know this, you're a streamer, you're wanting to be entertaining during your run. But like Barb and Pooh are also very entertaining. And like from a charity perspective, it would be foolish to try and like monopolize all the time. So like there is the pressure of it being a live event, but then like having a really good couch behind you can take that pressure off.
Sure.
Because they can like, if you ever need to just sit and focus on a level, they can they can knock it out for you and they can do a lot of that. The pressure of doing stuff live, I'm probably an exception to the rule, but it's never really gotten to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've never felt unprepared for runs either. So
Yeah.
And also it started a little late. I want to say it started at like 11:30-ish, like at night. So the room wasn't as like the room was popping more than it should have been for an 11:30 room.
Sure.
But it wasn't like full time during the day either. So it's like I don't know. There's a lot going on, and yeah, they're in your headsets. They're talking to you. Like there's a lot of times where they'd be saying things like to us during our run that obviously you couldn't hear on stream or in the room because it's separated out. Like there's one time where I think we kept saying ROM hack too many times.
Oh,
and literally, this is the first time it's happened to me. Even though I've run 4 of them, you're supposed to say like fan game or whatever, because we don't like hacking ROMs. And this is the first time it's ever happened where like in my headset they were like, "Please don't say ROM hacks anymore," to like all 3 of us. We were like,
oh, okay.
And like part of me was like, yeah, we won't, but also like, Barb and Pooh are probably never submitting anything. There's a good chance like that might be the last time they do commentary. I was like, there's a good chance it's the last time I submit. I don't know. So I was like, there's also like a slight feeling of playing with house money during the whole run. Cause I was like, what are they not going to want me back? I'm probably not going back. Like,
sure.
But not in like a disrespectful way, but in like
it's like it just doesn't really matter.
Playing a really loose way. Like, in a good kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean it's a lot. There's a lot going on. And
so
obviously there's just obvious the way it ended was wild too. Because
we gotta talk about that ending. I can't imagine how they were in your ear during the ending of that. I was reminded by somebody in the chat actually that my community did a watch party in my Discord to watch you do this run, and that ending was nothing short of just, I don't want to say a miracle, but it was just like picture perfect, like movie-esque. So we got to talk about that, the ending of your run.
Well, what's funny is there's 2 really, really hard bosses. Like the whole run is really hard. It's a really hard act. There's 2 really hard one really hard notorious boss, and then another one's like decently hard. The really hard notorious boss, I got in like 3 attempts. I got him really quickly, and that's Grand World 2 Bowser.
Yeah.
Because he's like a really hard, really random boss.
Yeah, which is on the technical side, the way more difficult boss.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Yeah.
The final boss, which is Dry Bones Bowser, I very rarely struggle with him. There's 2 issues, though, with him. It's one, his fight takes a long time. So a lot of times when you die, you're like, oh, that's a minute and a half, like, lost. You lose time in chunks dying to him.
Yeah.
And the other thing was those bombs are random. And before his final phase, a bunch of random bombs fall and your job is just to dodge them. And like they're never like not an issue. They're not free, but they're never that big of an issue. So we also watched it back after I got back from GDQ. We like watched the run back. And every time I got to the bombs, I put it in like 25% speed because I made every right decision consistently through the bombs. It's like, no, this is the decision you make. Like I like broke it down like ESPN Sports Center like style.
Yeah, you were like sports
this is how you do it. I was like,
yourself.
This bomb comes here. You have to move in. Like you see me try move back to the center. I'm like breaking it down. So the bombs were just like wild. And like, I think that more than being behind or anything like that adds pressure because it's the thing that like never happens and it just keeps happening over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point in my run, you heard me say like Bowser won. Like I was like, that's it, Bowser won. That's because when I started that attempt that I had died on, they said this is the last attempt. They were like, this is the last attempt before we have to call
they got to
it.
move on to the next
and then I died, so I was like, you have to honor that. Like I was like, I guess Bowser won. And then like Pooh and some people in the crowd were like chanting like one more. And then we did one more. And like in the middle of starting that attempt, they were like, seriously, this is the last one. like the real serious voice. And then that's the attempt that we beat it on, which
was epic.
It was pretty cool to hear an entire like crowd of people chanting my name.
Sure.
And it was like 1 a.m. So I was like, it's kind of just wild that there's that big of an audience at 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Like AGDQ is coming up, and it's regardless of who runs at 1 a.m, people are just, they're asleep. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Like, that's just when people
It's
go
the
to sleep.
nature of it,
That's
yeah.
humans. So like to finish the way it did, like literally pushing past when they said was the final run, to be like, nah, we're going to do one more. And then do it was kind of crazy.
They literally everybody was screaming, chanting, one more time, one more. And like, you did it. And you even said like, they're calling, last one, Bowser won, guys.
Right.
Like, and that was so
they
cool.
called last one, and then I died. And then they had to tell me again. And like I told Pooh, because I thanked him later. I was like, if it wasn't for you like really actively trying to push for that, this probably just would have been a mercy killed run and been so much worse.
Yeah.
Than it ended up being. So I was like thank you. Like legitimately, it ended up being a really awesome thing to do.
Like I like the way it ended too, because like I unfortunately didn't get to see it live. I was on vacation at the time, but when I watched it later, it was like a it's cool to watch somebody do something perfect and just they go up, they do their thing, they get it right. But like when it's suddenly coming down to the wire and everybody knows like, okay, they got to move on because I got the next thing. And it finally happens like right then, there's a little bit of struggle for whatever reason. And then finally it just happens at the last second. Like there's no possible more time that you could have used to make it up. Like that's a far more interesting watch to me than somebody who goes through and just doesn't make a single mistake for an hour and a half and then walks off the stage, which that's impressive too. No, I mean, that's cool, but this is more. No,
it was way better. It was way better. The way it ended, it was one of those endings where if you told me like, do you want it to be this close before I did the run, I would have been like, no, you're an idiot. Why would I ever want that?
Right.
And then it just ended up being way better than like if I had finished that run 8 minutes earlier, and we're like 5 minutes under estimate, way better run this way. Because I think one of the things a lot of people don't get about GDQ runs, especially like first time runners or people who are just like, they're all speed running, like that's all the content they engage with, is that GDQ is a charity, and like a run that's slower that raises more money because it's more entertaining is better than a fast run that raises less money. Yeah. Because the end result is what raises the most money for charity is better.
Yes.
Like flat out. And a lot of first like time runners don't get that because they're like so hyper focused, like because that's what they know how to do is go fast in a run.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they're hyper focused on. So like for me, I already I've had that mindset since my first run that like, even if I'm doing bad, like as long as it's entertaining and it raises money, it's fine. Yeah. So when it happened, I was instantly like very excited for it. The second it happened, I was like, not a piece of me was like, this is bad. It was very good. It was a good one to maybe potentially go out on. I don't know how I could top that run, so.
Right.
It was great.
You said you also ran. What were the other? You ran some other hacks previously. Was it Celeste?
I've run Comfort Zone. Then I've run Let's Give Up, which is a K pack. Then I ran Celeste.smc, which is a Celeste tribute mod in Mario, and it's like that's my favorite Kaiser run of all time.
I love watching you do that one.
It's the only Kaiser run that feels like an actual speed run. Like most Kaiser runs just feel like you do the Kaiser level, maybe a little faster, and the main point is not to die. And Celeste.speedrun or Celeste.smc, it's just there's skips everywhere. There's speedrun strats everywhere. There's optimization everywhere.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It feels more like running something like a Mega Man X or something. Like an actual like platforming game where you're just like, yeah, there's a bunch of different ways you could do that level, but like here's like the faster, more ideal ways to do it.
No, that's That's a good point. Yeah, because Kaizo by definition,
Yep.
or whatever you want to call it, is there's
It's hard enough
usually
just to
only
beat.
one way to do it, right? Yeah.
Right.
There's not like you have like a playing field to like do whatever. I mean, sometimes, you know, when a hack comes out, yes, those things do exist. There's skips that do exist.
Yeah,
but
there's
for the most
definitely
part,
strats.
yeah. For the most part, they're pretty well designed where there's not too many skips. At least nothing that's going to be like huge or anything. And then you go to like watch another game that somebody plays where, you know, it's just from the publisher. It's like, okay, I can just do if I jump backwards 7 times, pause, and then push Y, X, and then restart this. I don't know, something crazy like that. I can then zoom 5,000 miles to the other side. You know, you can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that doesn't really exist here, I guess.
Yeah, no, Celeste.smc is one of the only, like, I'm not going to say the only hack without strats, or like tons of hacks have strats or something. It's the only hack that feels like every section, it's like, here's 3 different strats. You could do this obstacle.
Yeah.
This one is the fastest. This one's like pretty fast. This is like the normal intended. And like, that's that case for like the majority of obstacles on every level. And Kaizo hacks just aren't like that. And it was left open like that on purpose as a tribute to Celeste, because there's a bunch of different ways to do Celeste rooms and stuff.
Right.
So we wanted it to be like a little more open. Yeah. But yeah, no, and then Grand World 3 after that. Grand World 3, definitely the longest and hardest of those hacks, both. So that's one of those, especially that category of all exits. There's just Grand World 2, the EM4 Bowser, the remake, is probably what scares most people about that category. If you watch people run it when people first started doing speedruns, they would just play it for like an hour 20, hour and a half or whatever, and then get to that Bowser and spend like 20 minutes there. Like that was just what runs looked like for a while. So it was hard, but it was super fun. Pooh and Barb did such an incredibly good job with commentary. All the support staff was really good. The ending, of course, was great. It was so good.
Epic. I'm always interested, like, every time I watch GDQ, I mean, there's dozens of games that are run over the course of GDQ, and there's all walks of life. You never know, like, what people are going to be into, but it's incredible how much response there is to Mario. It's it's crazy how many, like, if you look at the numbers of people watching, not that it matters, it's all about charity, I understand, but
it's a crowd favorite.
The people love Mario.
I mean, everybody knows Mario too, right? Like, I think like everybody who's watching GDQ has played a Mario game in some capacity. So I think people are just like wowed, like, you can do this with Mario. Like, this is wild, you know?
And think of like the people too who like don't watch Twitch but watch GDQ or whatever, and who don't know something like a ROM hack may even exist. That's always my favorite thing. Like when people come in, like when we're playing a ROM hack and they're like, what is this? This isn't Mario World. It looks like Mario World, but it's not my Mario World. So it's kind of cool to get that like exposure out there for like, it's very niche what we do. If you think about it, like people who stream SMW Kaizo, it's definitely a niche
I'm surprised
market.
Anybody watches. Have you ever tried to explain what it is to somebody in real life? Like that, not on Twitch? It's rough. It's rough to explain. So listen, SMW, it's a 30-year-old game. I turned into that meme of the guy at the baseball game with like his hand on the girl's neck, like just explaining like, so SMW is a 30-year-old game, but like there's thousands of hacks of it. We made it real hard. It's like, it makes no sense to say out loud, but like it just clicks and works for whatever reason. So
And when you do explain it, most people are like, well, why would you even want to play that? Like, why do you want to spend time on it?
Yeah, it's like,
why would you want to watch somebody? Like,
and I'm mainly good because I've done it for 5,000 hours. It's
right.
like, all right, well, we don't need to talk to him anymore. We'll be good.
Do you have any advice for speedrunners who are like, someday I want to go to GDQ?
My advice for lots of people who have applied is go apply. If you have a speedrun and you're like, I could do it, but I don't think it's good enough, go apply. There's not a punishment for submitting something that doesn't make it in. Like, there's no punishment for that. You can just go do it. Like, it's free. It'll take you like 5 minutes. They keep accepting a lot of my runs for some reason, and I don't know. I've never known why. So I was just like, yeah, just go submit stuff. They'll accept it.
Love that.
Yeah, no, legitimately, it's sounds super simple, but like foot in the door, go do it.
Yeah.
I can't teach you how to speed run, but like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that are like, maybe if I really get better at it or whatever, it's like, just submit it. If you want to submit it, don't wait. You can just go do it.
Now you recently went to TwitchCon too.
Oh yes, I did.
Was that your first TwitchCon?
It was my first TwitchCon ever, even though I've been streaming 7 years or something. Never
Wow.
know what I've GDQs are what I've kind of gone to more, and a lot of my early stream career, like I wasn't even like nobody I hung out with or affiliated with was really going to TwitchCon because they were also kind of speedrun people.
Mhm.
And a lot of speedrun people tend to be like more introverted, and they're not like, why would I want to go to a party scene?
Sure.
So it was my first TwitchCon. It was fun. It was a blast to go to. It's also only like a weekend. You know, TwitchCon is not like a full week or whatever. But it's definitely like I was reminded it's like so much bigger than a GDQ. I was like, oh yeah, there's like infinitely more people here. It's just a way bigger event.
I've never been to either one, so it's hard for me to like picture like.
I mean, it's just a big convention center, like full of people. Like it's a big convention center.
Are the rumors true about?
Yes.
You know.
Yes, they are.
They're all true.
No,
all
of them.
Are the rumors true at the TwitchCon about the deodorant thing?
I mean, you can probably find. I didn't notice anything, but I think at any cons and conventions, the places people notice deodorant and those kind of issues are like enclosed rooms. So like a big running joke for GDQ for a while was the Smash room.
Yeah, let's say the Smash Brothers room. That's infamous.
But
meme.
I don't. But that's not necessarily. I mean, it probably contributes people not wearing deodorant. But like, it's more just like a tiny enclosed space, a decent amount of people in it, like sweating for 2 hours. Like, cause you're like playing games and you're like tense and you're like this, and it's like that's like a normal kind of amount of sweat. Like, if you play Smash Bros for 3 hours, it's like you're gonna be a little sweaty, kind of no matter what. Because you're just sitting there playing Smash Bros. For
Smash Brothers, I am drenched in sweat after a half hour.
And
I've lost weight.
And the main thing is, like, it's in an enclosed room. But like when you're walking around a convention center and stuff, like, even if people like didn't know how to use deodorant or whatever, it's also like big open air and stuff too. So like not really.
More circulation in the HVAC and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I gotta tell you.
So maybe I didn't notice anything.
My biggest fear, because I have not been to TwitchCon and I plan to go to TwitchCon this year upcoming. I already have babysitting for my dogs ready to go. Like, this is my year. I can even drive myself to the airport in my car. But anyway, my biggest fear going to TwitchCon is that I'm short, right? I'm 5'2". So when people hug me, like their armpits are like on me. Like they're in my face. They're on my hair. And I think my biggest fear is I'm gonna go to TwitchCon and someone smelly is gonna try to hug me and I'm gonna like offend people.
Listen, if that's your biggest fear, I think you're doing fine. Like,
okay,
you're
not even socially anxious, or you're not like I'm worried about meeting so and so that I had drama with, or like you're just like a smelly person might interact with me. I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be good.
The thing you have to live with afterwards is you will always remember that person. Like when you see that person stream or you see that person chatting, your first thought's always going to be like, man, that person stunk.
Smelly person.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I will be the first person to admit I'm not like, I don't have like a real strong nose. So like there have been people around me who have smelled that like I haven't really noticed, but I didn't notice an issue, and I don't think anybody around me like really noticed an issue with anybody. Like I didn't see it as a thing.
Okay, good. Thank you Thanks for helping my fear.
But if somebody is sweaty, just understand there's a good chance it's not necessarily because they weren't wearing deodorant. It's because you walk so much at TwitchCon. Like, I walked over 3 days, like 75,000 steps.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
It's so much.
That's
well, because
a lot.
one, like you're at a hotel that's not at the convention. So if you're at a hotel that's in walking distance, like 0.7 miles away or something, you'll always do that walk. You're always walking around the convention floor. You're always always walking. So like, if anybody's sweating, I would chalk it up to that as opposed to then just being like a smelly, sweaty, no deodorant wearer.
Where was TwitchCon again this year? Was it Vegas?
San Diego.
Oh, San Diego. Okay.
And apparently it's really good that they moved it back to San Diego. I don't have a frame of reference because obviously this was my first one. From what I've been told, this was a lot better this year. I mean, obviously the Vegas one just had its own set of issues, but
right.
I think apparently with the Vegas, like there's a lot of stuff to do right around the convention center in San Diego. And apparently in the Vegas one, like when people like left the convention center proper, they were like out. They weren't like on streets. They weren't like at bars right next to the convention center. They were like going to the strip. They were like Ubering away or whatever.
Gotcha.
So it was a lot more decentralized is what I've heard.
There's another podcast that I listen to that one of the hostesses on it, she got hired into Twitch like a couple of years ago, and she's actually one of the people that's on stage usually at like TwitchCon and stuff, doing like the marketing and stuff like that in front of everybody. And she was saying that actually the Vegas one thing that was really cool about Vegas, and it was a weird thing to like even experience, was the convention hall. Right outside of it, if you go underground, it's that loop that has the Teslas running all the time.
Oh.
And they had like discounts because they wanted to make sure people, you know, if they were drinking or something like that, they were getting to and from the convention hall safely. So they were giving really steep discounts. And like she said, it was really cool because she's like, I got to try this, you know. So went down and you whatever, you stand up there and then a driverless Tesla just pulls up. You get in and it just zooms at like 50 miles an hour in a big circle and takes you for a couple miles and then just drops you off. There's no driver. You're underground and then you just get off and you go walk up and you're right in like the center of all your hotels and stuff. Like
that is kind of crazy.
That's cool.
That is cool. Like I didn't Uber once while I was in San Diego though.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I
really
walked everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, so there's like a big street that's like right by the convention center that just has a ton of bars and restaurants and stuff. And then there's a bunch of hotels. Like it's like downtown. So it's like by all these things. Like I think my hotel was 0.8 miles away.
Okay.
So like everything was walking distance, which was nice. It would be cool to ride in the little loop. I just didn't have to ride anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's like a cool experience, but like it's missed out because it's also not needed in San Diego. At least where their convention center was. I think it's at the same place most years, is my understanding. But no, TwitchCon's fun. It was a blast.
For someone who's never gone to a TwitchCon or is thinking about going to a TwitchCon, besides like walking around and like meeting all your friends, what other activities besides like outside going to do things with your friends in the actual convention
besides
itself,
just the social,
what is there?
Right.
Yeah, what is there to do? Like, what are people doing when they're there?
So there's multiple floors. Like there's a bottom floor where they have, and that's like the main, I guess, convention center floor, where they have a bunch of like sponsored booths and stuff. So like GG Sups, like the energy drink set up there, G Fuel. Yeah. God, what was it? There was one there that was like, I can't even remember what it was, but it's like a military industrial complex. And we're like, why do you have a booth here? This is like so weird. But no, and there's just like tons of booth and like, cause there's all these businesses, like they want sponsors to use their products, like blurp alerts and like all of these kind of things. So like that whole floor, you can walk around and like talk to people. There's an arcade down there. There's like some ping pong tables. That's where the meet and greets are. If you really want to meet your favorite celebrity. I didn't do any meet and greet because the only people that were there that I was like, I would wait an hour to go meet this person are people that I've already met. Like, I'm not going to wait an hour to meet Pooh. I just saw you this summer. Like, but he had a meet and greet, but I was like, not going to. But I mean, if that's your kind of thing, then I guess you can consider that networking. I didn't. I was like, they're not going to remember the people who take pictures with them because they're just doing that for hundreds of people or whatever.
Right.
There's also like a big stage where if you watch TwitchCon on Twitch, the big stage is probably what you saw a lot of. Yeah. Where they were like doing stuff. I didn't watch a single thing on that stage because it's like you're just kind of sitting in this audience and watching them. And I was like, there's just better stuff to do. That's also sort of like with GDQ. Like if you ever go to GDQ, you never just sit in the run room and watch runs. Like that's
right.
Like you may watch a run or two, but like
the one you're
like
there to watch. Yeah,
you're hanging out with people. You're doing other stuff. There's also then like on a different floor, like GDQ had a stream room set up because they had an event going on through TwitchCon. There's a big merch, like huge like food court type area where half of it is all like merch booths for people who have like set up like stuff you can buy.
Okay.
The tattoo I got was actually a design from one of those merch booths.
Oh, really?
That was really? That was really cute. Yeah. So there is that. There's the partner lounge, which is like it's nothing special. It's just it's a chill place to go hang out when you want to be like not around a lot of people, you know. But no, so there's a lot to do. I feel like I could go on a while.
And the partner lounge sounds like it might be good for like people who like have a massive following. They just need to get away for a minute or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe that's the main intention of it.
Yeah, it's really a place to like chill out a little, which is, I mean, it's nice, especially like if you're just like, I'm tired of walking, my legs hurt. Can I go sit down somewhere?
Yeah.
But no, so like the big booths on the convention floor, I wasn't super interested in a lot of the big booths on the convention floor because I'm like, I'm not a big person who has like 18 different things going on in my stream. Like I don't have like a bunch of different alerts. I don't have a bunch of this. I don't have a bunch of that. So like, and I've never been like reach out to a lot of people to try and get stream keys or anything either.
Right.
So there's just a lot of stuff there that's like, it's probably useful for a lot of people networking wise, but I just walked around to walk around and see if I saw people there. Yeah. Those are the main things. It is fun. TwitchCon was a blast. In TwitchCon, a lot of people don't want to go if they're like, I'm not really a partier, you know? It's like, believe it or not, we're not just drinking like nonstop the entire time we're there. Like, majority of it is not a party. There's a lot of people, so I guess if a lot of people make you uncomfortable, but no, for the most part, it's just I wanted to go because it's a good chance to meet a lot of people that I know are never going to go to something like a GDQ. And I really wanted to get a chance to meet a lot of those people, and I did, and it was nice. So yeah, TwitchCon's super fun. Highly recommend going.
Yep, I'll definitely be there this year.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I can't wait. You mentioned the tattoo, and we gotta talk about the tattoo.
I did. I got a cute tattoo. I can try and show it. I don't know how well it's gonna show up
for those who are visually watching us. Look at
yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, it's a little Charmander wearing a Charizard onesie.
It's for the listeners. It's so stinking cute.
And she did a great job.
Ever.
It doesn't look super great right now, but that's because it's still healing. Mm-hmm. So it's still in for anybody who's never gotten a tattoo, they take like 4 weeks to heal. They don't just like go in the skin and now they look like pristine forever. Like they'll scab over and they'll do some like gross body stuff because you just stabbed yourself for 4 hours straight. So, you know, sometimes that happens. Yeah. So like it's still healing a little bit, but I like it a lot. It's so good. But yeah, no, There was a picture in a merch booth, and it was the 3 starters, and it was a Charmander wearing like a Charizard onesie, next to a Bulbasaur wearing like a Venusaur onesie, next to a Squirtle wearing like a Blastoise onesie with like the cannons and stuff. And I was like, that's so cool.
Cute.
That's cool.
Like,
it's an awesome tattoo.
Is that one area I've heard of TwitchCon, and I don't know if they do this every year, but there's like an area where they have like I guess like art streamers, right? Art streamers who
that would be like the merch area.
Yeah, and there's like an area you can go down there, and you can see like all the art that they make on stream and stuff. Like they actually put it on display for purchase or for like promotional purposes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
I guess I should clarify, because when I say streamers and merch, you're thinking like what we have in our merch stores, and that's not what I'm talking about. These are like little like businesses and stuff that are like just making really unique stuff, and they set up booths.
Sure.
They're not like, you couldn't go there and buy like an Ashley shirt or a Poncho Taco shirt. Like that's not really what it is. It really is for people who've like done these like art designs and stuff, and like a bunch of them are really cool, and like they run the gambit. A huge, massive chunk of it is just nothing to do with video games at all.
Right.
Like it might just be cool, like fantasy art or whatever. Sure. Like there's a bunch of different stuff. It's really cool. And it really is like, think like one of the biggest food courts you've ever seen, like full of it. Like just chock full, like probably like 100 booths, maybe more.
Wow.
Oh, that's bad. I'm gonna spend some money.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I didn't buy much from them, but they're really cool. And I definitely was with people who were like, I'm going to get that. Somebody who I was with, Swiftshot TV, there's a guy there who does like retro game collecting stuff. And like, they were like, I want to go see if he has this, or this, you know? So like, it's really cool. There's a lot of stuff going on at TwitchCon for sure.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's, it's cool that it has like a lot to offer, right? It's not just go there and, you know, awkwardly stand around with people and like, you know,
and it's not just like every room you go to is like techno lights and like bumping music. Like that's like not the majority of TwitchCon.
That's just the stage area or whatever.
That stuff is there if you want to enjoy it, but that is not the majority of the space now.
Cool.
Which is nice, yeah. A whole weekend of that constantly might be a bit much.
Sure.
Just a smidge. I know TwitchCon's great. It's a high recommend. Like if you know a decent amount of people, like obviously if you don't know anybody from Twitch, it might be like a little rougher. You might feel like you're walking around a little more like alone, a little more.
Like, aimlessly.
If you know people from Twitch and you know like specifically certain people are going and stuff, it's a blast. It's great.
That's
cool. That's cool.
Yeah, highly recommend.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I know those are two things that came up that we're like, we got to talk to him about this. Like, you know, GDQ, like that's cool. You had the stage and everything. And then going to TwitchCon. I don't know if people we've had on in the past, like they've been to TwitchCon. I don't know if we've like talked to them, at least a fresh TwitchCon or anything like that. I hung
out with one of your last guests at TwitchCon.
Oh yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. V-Sweat.
Oh, really?
Oh!
I spent like a whole night at V-Sweat. We were hanging out at a bar with a lot of the, with some hitless runners and a lot of the Dead by Daylight people.
Oh, that's awesome.
You should have given them some Grand Poo World 2 tips to tell them how to play.
I don't know, man. It's uphill. It's uphill now.
Yeah.
It's hard work giving advice on that game now.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Like, have you tried jumping better?
Yeah. Have you tried pushing A little bit better next time? Come on. Let's beat this. That's cool. Yeah, no, that's cool. Let's move into stuff that we're playing now. Some video games we're playing now. Ashley, I know you wanted to circle back. You had told me about a certain game that you had not completed. You were playing it during the last episode. You did not complete it, but you wanted to circle back and talk about it now.
I did. I know this is going to surprise everybody, but I wanted to circle back on Echoes of Wisdom. We got to talk about it. I hadn't beat the game last episode, so I always brag. I'm like, I've beat every main console Zelda game, but I hadn't last episode. So now that I have a few thoughts. And you beat the game, right, Mighty Mouse?
Not yet, actually, no.
Okay, well, I will not spoil anything. I wouldn't anyway, but I have just a couple of points I want to make. Because I'm known as like the Zelda fangirl, and every Zelda's perfect to me. And everyone makes fun of me for that because of Skyward Sword, because I love Skyward Sword, and that game is just so universally not people's favorite Zelda, and it is a top 5 Zelda for me. It's like I treasure that game. But I played through the game, finished the game on stream, and I gave it a rating at the end. And I think my rating was fair, and I think my audience agreed with me. But for me, overall, I give Echoes of Wisdom a 7 out of 10, which is a low score for me, because I think every Zelda is perfect, except for Wind Waker. And what made it not a 10 out of 10 for me was listen, when I was playing the game, you're playing it live on stream. It's really different than if you're playing it on your couch, right? Someone who watches my stream made a really good point, and they were like, Ashley, like, there's parts where you're struggling, and you can't just like sleep on it and then come back the next day, or take a lot of time to like look at your surroundings. You're being watched by tons of people, and everybody's trying to backseat. Half your audience has already played this part, and they know what to do. Mm-hmm. And there's also like, this is a game where there are just like dozens, possibly hundreds of solutions to each room. And that almost makes it like even harder, because you're just like, the thing is that for me, and again, without trying to spoil anything, there's ways in the game that like, there were people who were trying to shout out and backseat me, and they were like, use this. And I had never seen the thing they were talking about, and I was an endgame. So there's just like so many things in the game that like, if you don't touch and explore everything, talk to everybody, like you could really miss out on things that could make your playthrough so much more enjoyable. And I didn't love that. Like in Ocarina of Time, right? Like it's a lot more linear. I know it's a big difference between open world and linear, but you can't do the water temple unless you have the iron boots, unless you have Zelda's Lullaby. Like if I'm doing a randomizer, I know there's certain things I can't do without certain items, but you work your way around it. In Echoes, I like to explore and talk to everybody, but it doesn't necessarily make for good stream content. So I'm trying to like book it to the end, and there is just no book it to the end if like you don't know what you're doing in this new game. So I just found like it was overwhelming with options. A lot of things weren't explained, and there was just so much dialogue. It just never stopped. Every person that you talk to, they have 50 paragraphs to say to you, and it's all the same stuff. Granted, the lore in the game is incredible. The game itself is amazing. The storyline is great. I love the maps. I love the characters. I love the music. The dungeons were awesome. Some of the bosses were underwhelming or too easy, in my opinion. Like I was just throwing out like level 1 baby things to fight them, and they were doing the job. And without spoiling, I found the final fight underwhelming as well. But I did start a second playthrough by myself, and I am enjoying it a lot more.
Yeah, puzzle game, any kind of puzzle game. I know it's not purely a puzzle game. Any kind of puzzle game on stream is rough.
Yeah, it's
is this the most puzzle Zelda game to release? Because there's action, but it's not like your traditional sword slashing.
I feel like the only thing that probably compares is Tears, right?
Agree.
With like all the different things you can make. So you're like, in this one, we can build a rocket that goes up, or we can decide to build an airship, or we can decide to like. So there's a bunch of silly ways to kind of do things in Tears of the Kingdom too. But yeah, no, I don't. It's obviously more a more kiddie game, right, so to speak, like sort of like Link's Awakening. Yeah, that's who it's geared towards. So it's sort of like what if Breath of the Wild, but like every solution worked is kind of almost what it feels like Like some might be way harder than others, but like that's kind of what it felt like. Like I did 2 streams of it. And throughout the entirety of 2 streams, all I ever did was throw rocks at people. I just conjured rocks and threw them at, and I went through the game like that.
You can though. That's
pretty
the thing.
easily.
You can
Yeah,
do that.
Right.
It wasn't like a challenge. It wasn't a challenge run. I was just cruising through. I was like, why do you need anything besides rocks? You just chunk these bad rocks, beds, and trampolines. Those the only 3 things you need.
I will say one element, because since Tears of the Kingdom is such a puzzle game in itself as well, but like it just with Tears, I feel like you didn't have to think as much because there was templates in Tears. Like there's places you can go that you can not only there's templates that tell you like, hey, you can build this now. Like if you have all these items, we'll just build it for you. But you could like make up your own things that you wanted to build and make it a template. And then it would keep that for you and build it for you. Like in this game, there's nothing like that. It's one item at a time. And then if you want a specific echo or an item, you are going through a 1-line like inventory. There is another inventory where you can go into the menu and you can go through and stuff like that. But there is just there's no organization at all.
Yeah, like and I only did like 2 streams of it. And by the time I was through with the second stream, I was like, it takes so long to figure out which of these items to summon, and I've only been playing for like 2 days.
One thing, I didn't play the game, but the first thing that stuck out to me with anybody that I watched is how did they not implement a grid-like system for your items? Like it's this long line of you just scrolling for like 20 minutes to find what you need or whatever. Like, couldn't you have like easily solve this by like letting us like letting the player hold down a button or push start or something, and then you just have a nice like 8x5 grid or something like that where you have like 30 items right there. Like that would be,
or heck, like pages of 3x3 if you think like 40 items is like going to be overwhelming for kids or something. You could do pages of grids pretty easily too.
There was a way to go into your menu and do that. There is actually a way to look at it in like a grid style, but it's completely unorganized and makes no sense. Like even in like Tears and Breath of the Wild, you could go into your start menu and you could click a button to organize everything nicely for you into categories. And in this game, you cannot.
Because like,
and see, I don't. The other thing is, I don't necessarily mind it being unorganized, but it switched its order. So like sometimes when you would use something and then suddenly it would be in a different part of the list. If the trampoline was like always at the front of my list, I would be fine with that because I can teach my brain to always go to the front of the list or whatever. And I can teach my brain to go to these places. But I remember I would like use
organize
stuff.
It in your own head. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I would use stuff and I'd be like, okay, so wait, it's over here now. Like I remember stuff just gave me, I was like, oh, I don't love that.
Yeah.
Oh, overall, I adored the game. It's adorable. I don't recommend it as a first Zelda, but like maybe a second or a third Zelda for sure for people. But I did overall really love the game. It's very whimsical. It's very charming. There's so much to look at and interact with. And if you like a game like that where it's a more chill Zelda and you can take your time and like kind of just like interact with NPCs and stuff, it's definitely a Zelda for you.
Yeah, I think its big issue is that it is like it's obviously more cutesy and stuff. And that's cutesy and a little bit easier is a rough combo with explore a million miles. It's like those don't necessarily combine super great, which like both of those things individually are really cool. But then like by the time you're like halfway through it to 2/3 through it, you're like, it's not feeling repetitive, but like, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You're not getting like the grandeur of like new places the way you might with Tears of the Kingdom and stuff, because it's all kind of cutesy.
Right. Well, even like Link to the Past. I mean, granted, like I said, I didn't get to watch a lot of Echoes. Actually, I watched you play it. And I still didn't get to watch a lot of it. So I know mostly when I was able to tune into streams of people playing it, it was mostly like this, like it always looked like a dream world or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like That's all that I truly really feel like I saw. And I feel like that's just a huge part of the game, whatever it was. Like you're often in like this sequence of like, I don't know, it almost looks like a galaxy kind of maybe or something.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
yeah. Yep.
And with like Link's Awakening, like, I mean, granted, like I said, you could correct me and tell me I'm wrong, but I feel like Link's Awakening is maybe more varied, even though it's kind of a similar-ish world. Like a little style, maybe style is the word.
It's a little more linear too, even. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like open world is good and really cutesy is good. It really is like when you start combining those, it's like how long do you want to stay steeped in the cutesy of like one area investigating like 10 different things? Whereas at least with Link's Awakening, like you're kind of moving on. You're keeping it's got better pacing than Echoes has.
That's a great word. Yep.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Better pacing, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And overall great game, but
Echoes felt like it kind of suffered from one of the same issues I still had with Breath of the Wild, that I feel like a lot of my exploration went unrewarded. And like I was doing a bunch, but it's like, what did I do all this for? I didn't really like get anything.
You did it for the Korok seed or whatever.
Yeah, and it turned the golden seed. Or like it turned out there was nothing up there to that place I just spent forever getting to. Like it didn't do necessarily the best job of rewarding that, but it also expects you to do that a lot too.
Right.
So yeah, pacing was the kind of big issue I had with it.
I'm off my soapbox now. Thank you for letting me talk about my Zelda for a moment. It was an amazing game. I'm already playing it again. But I do feel like if it wasn't like that I streamed it and then I just wanted to have my alone time with it, I probably wouldn't play it again. Personally.
I could see that.
Sure.
You're like there was so much backseating. I want to experience it without that.
Exactly.
Why would you want to when you have Breath of the Wild for like the 5th time you could play, you know? You get 100% it for the 5th time this week or whatever. So
Breath of the Wild to me is one of the closest things to a perfect game that we have in our lifetimes, and I could talk about it forever, so I'll stop now. But I'm not opposed to a 5th playthrough of Breath of the Wild.
For me, what have we done? I finally finished Red Dead 2. I was playing that. I played that for a month and a half. It's a long game. It's like 60 hours if you just beeline the story. Like it's literally like a 60-hour game. I still stand by one of the best games ever made. Really long game. Really glad I was able to revisit it. I haven't played it since 2018 when it released, so that's about 6 years ago. And still really good. Still really great. I had a great time.
Holds up for sure.
Oh yeah. And one thing that like people kept saying and I kept saying too was that it's a 2018 game. Like I don't know, like maybe I haven't played anything recently, but the game still absolutely wows me graphically compared to a lot of other games. Like I stand by that. I think the best technical looking game, the game that looks the most true to life, is probably The Last of Us Chapter 2. Like when
Agree.
you look,
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, like when they have the faces, like they look so real. But the thing is that that's a closed game, right? It's not an open world game that has all these systems going on.
Sure.
You open that up and like there's so much to account for. I don't think anybody does it better than Red Dead 2 still. To the scale that game is. Like now you could argue, be like, well, I prefer the look of Breath of the Wild. Okay, yep, that or Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, that's a style choice. But I mean, if you're looking for like true to like what real life looks like pure just graphics like inserted into your eyeballs. Like I don't know if there's another game that does it as well. Still to this day in 2018. Like there are other games that are great, like the God of War games look incredible, but again, those are just closed corridor type games. I mean, they do have open world aspects, but they don't have the broad, right? The scale, I guess, of what that game is. So I want to say I finished that. Game is still incredible. If you haven't played it, play it. It's good if you're into long story games.
I gotta play it.
And the other thing too is I've been playing SMZ3, which is Mighty Mouse. I know you're very familiar with it, but I'll explain it to our listeners in case they're not familiar with it. It's SMZ3 is a Super Metroid Zelda 3, SMZ3, which Super Metroid, everyone knows that. Zelda 3 is Link to the Past. And basically what they did is they took these two games, they made them into a single ROM, so you don't have to jump between ROMs or anything. And then they randomized the location of every item. So, for example, say you're playing Link to the Past, you're like, man, I need the Master Sword. Where is it? Well, it could be in Norfair, in Super Metroid or something like that. I don't know. It could be like that. So you got to jump over to Super Metroid and you got to go over and hunt for it. And eventually you're going to find it. And then you can use the Master Sword in Link to the Past. So like, there's a lot of things like that. It's really interesting to see. It's my first randomizer I've ever done in my life. I think it's an interesting one to choose to start with. Maybe, I don't know. But it's I'm having fun with it. I haven't gotten bit by the randomizer bug where it's like, I got to do more. I'm having a really good time with it, and I will be finishing it as of this recording, at least tomorrow night, which would be the 10th, because I got all 7 crystals. I got all 4, whatever you get from the Metroid. I don't know what they're called, from the Metroid bosses. I already beat Super Metroid. All I got to do is beat Link to the Past, and the tower just opened up for me last night. So I can go in there, and the grand finale tomorrow night will be finally finishing that. I think I'm about 25 hours in. It's been a pretty long one.
Wow.
I was going to say, yeah, I was like, I wouldn't get bit by the bug either if the first one took like 25 hours. But I also just did a Link to the Past rando right away. I didn't do an SMZ3 rando.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I think
very on par with V-Swed, like doing Grand Blue Road 3 as his first ever ROM hack. Like, I feel like if you're going to do like in the rando world, because I think Poncho, if I'm not mistaken, you had only played through Super Metroid once, right? Yep. And then Link to the Past, was it only once, or was that like your once?
I only played those games for the very first time like 2 months ago.
And then you did a rando of them never doing a rando. I think that's pretty awesome.
It is good. I think the one thing most people don't understand about randos, at least like viewers, if you've never done one, is trackers. If you're using trackers, both item and a map tracker, specifically, I'm a big advocate of the map tracker. Because I've heard the phrase so many times, like, I don't know the game well enough. I should play through it a couple times before I do a rando. I was like, if you have a map tracker, playing it once is enough. It'll just like tell you where items are. It's right there. You can go do it.
You can even use the map tracker on your first playthrough if you want, a vanilla playthrough. It just tells you if you want 100% a game, a tracker is great for that.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question, because I've never done any rando besides Ocarina of Time. And watching you do SMZ3, like I've watched other people do it before, but like I guess I didn't really like care to know about like the specifics in your map when you're doing it, right? I always hear you talk about green and red and stuff like that. So if I had no clue if I haven't played Link to the Past in forever and I want to do a Link to the Past rando, my map will tell me, you're saying like green means you could go here and there's something here. Yep. You don't know what it is.
You can
right?
do every check. Yep.
Is that how
there's
it works?
Nothing hiding.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't use a map tracker for OOT?
Well, the OOT, you don't really use the map in OOT like very much, but I use Ship of Arcanian, so I don't. For me, I don't need like
Ship doesn't have a map.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's no map or anything for Ocarina. No.
Yeah, no. So like there will be like little squares. It has a map, little squares over the locations, and if a square is green, it just means all the checks there are available, and you can like click on it, and it'll be like 4 checks, and you can check it off. So for
that's so cool.
For like a Link to the Past, for instance, whenever you first start, there's a chest in your house that you get. That's where you get the lamp in vanilla. And that'll just be like a green check, and you can get whatever's there and you check it off. You can use an auto tracker if you want. That's what I do. It's just so nice.
I like that.
And
I like that idea.
Yeah, no, the map tracker is super useful if you don't feel comfortable blind doing it. I still use a map tracker. I've done I can do a Link to the Past perfectly fine without them, but I like having it.
Yeah, sounds convenient.
Yeah, it's super nice.
Yep. Yeah, and there's different colors. Green, of course, is you can do everything here. You're not missing an item. Yellow is partial. You can do some of the things in there. Red, it means come back later. You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And then blue is like visually you can see it like on a cliff. So you can see it. You can't do anything about it though. Like
Gotcha.
like in Link to the Past, for example, like just last night, the butter sword was at which butter sword is level 4 sword, the strongest sword you can get. It was at the top of the mountain, just to the left of the castle, where the only way to get it is if you have the mirror. So like I saw it dozens of hours ago. I saw it and I was like, well, I can't get that. I know I have to have the mirror. And then I didn't find the mirror until I was in Lower Norfair. So like I was on my way to fight like Ridley or something like that. So like I didn't get that mirror for a long time. Yeah, finally I was able to get the butter sword. So I do have like full strength and everything. But yeah, that's what the blue means. You can see it, but you can't do anything. So you can at least see, okay, there's blue. I can go make a note on the tracker, be like, hey, this is where this item is. So I can remember for later. So they do give you some options like that, which is cool.
Yeah, and oranges, you can get it with a glitch.
Yes, that's right.
If you
know
okay.
glitches, yep. If you know glitches,
cool.
Yep.
But it'll be out of logic, so.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So like if you used Emo Tracker for the OOT random, getting into the water temple without iron boots, that would be like an orange because it's out of logic, but you can do it.
But you can do it.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's just so helpful.
Mm-hmm. So
anytime anybody does a new rando, use a map tracker.
Agree.
100%.
It'll help familiarize yourself with it. So that's what I've been doing. SMZ3. I'm about to finish it. Like I said, I think about 25 hours. This will be my 9th stream of it, I think. So
wow.
I only know that because I'm doing like my stream titles are SMZ3 day whatever. So this will be my 9th one. Really fun. I'm having a blast with it. And yeah, it's a good time.
It's fun.
What about you, Mighty Mouse? What have you been playing lately?
I realized one of the things that I've been doing is I actually talked about it the last time we were on the podcast, which is the Mega Man and Mega Man X series.
Okay.
Because they were incentives for me to do them. Like all the mainline Mega Man. So Mega Man 1 through 10, Mega Man X 1 through 8. I only have one more Mega Man X game to go. We've played through all the Mega Man games and we played through all but one of the Mega Man X games. And I feel like my opinion on them hasn't changed, even though I hadn't played almost all of those games. Somehow my opinion didn't change. Where like most of the Mega Man games are much more like standard. Like they feel like they hit a gold standard with Mega Man 2, and they kind of tried to replicate that for the majority of the Mega Man series.
Mm-hmm.
And Mega Man X, like people didn't even realize that it kept going. I think most people are like past the SNES. Like there was more of them. They were on the PlayStation, and they got like really like 2.5D, and like they're not great. Not good. They're not good games. They're content, but they're not good games. And then that's like I haven't been like those are like I'll do one a weekend kind of deal, and not necessarily even every weekend. And then the other thing that I've been playing recently is the Elden Ring DLC.
Been loving watching you play that
because anytime there's a game like that like I'm really interested in, but I know it's going to be a big release. I know a ton of good people are going to play it. I virtually never play them right away. Like with the exception of like some highly anticipated Kaizo stuff like that. When Elden Ring came out, I waited half a year or something, maybe more to play Elden Ring. And I've waited a good significant chunk of time to play the DLC too. Because if you're not like a really big streamer and you try and play a really hot popular game right when it comes out, your stream is just going to be swamped, and it's likely to be a graveyard. Because it's a combination of viewer fatigue that like, Jesus, I don't want to watch the 12th streamer play this game. and it's a combination of people who really love the game and would want to watch you play it, but they're playing it and they don't want spoilers.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So like
Exactly.
it's really like a tornado storm of reasons that like it's gonna go badly. Which like I remember watching, like when Elden Ring first came out, I remember watching streams that had like, normally they'd have 150 people and I watched them stream to like 12 people. And I was like, that's why I wait. Like I know numbers aren't everything, but like that's why I wait.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
can't blame
the
you.
DLC has been super fun. I'm actually on the very final boss. Like I just got
really?
there last night. Yeah.
That's
Bro, and I've only put,
Radigan? Is that?
Yeah, I mean,
that's yeah.
is it has enough time gone on to where we don't have to worry about spoilers? I feel like
Yeah.
it should be okay at this point. You can cover your ears for the next 3 seconds if you don't want spoilers. It's Radon.
Radon.
Consort Radon, like the
That's
young
right.
version of him. And he's apparently the hardest boss they've ever made. Like harder than Melania was in like the base game.
Wow.
I've only spent like 20 minutes on him. But listen, we're gonna cruise through him. It'll be fine. No
yeah.
way we spend a lot of time on this boss. Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
But no, I think I've gone through everything in the DLC. We've explored every major area.
Sure.
So we're like wrapping it up. I mean, past that in the Mega Man and Mega Man X marathons, I played a little bit of Echoes of Wisdom, but like I didn't finish it. It wasn't a full stream playthrough or anything. Those are the main things I've been playing. And just perpetually Mario mixed in, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
One thing for our listeners, one thing that's interesting that I learned recently as well is that Mega Man 10. It looks like your old school Mega Man games that came out on Super Nintendo, but that was actually a 2012 release.
Yep.
Came out on like PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii era. I mean, you boot it up, you would think it was a Super Nintendo game. Like they kept the art style. It wasn't Mega Man 11.
Yeah.
They changed it up.
It started
but,
with
yeah.
9 that they did that. So like 8
Is it?
was 8. They were like kind of slowly advancing, and 8 was the first one that tried to be like fancy kind of PlayStation like graphics,
Sure.
even though it's still like 2.5 side scroller. But then like 9, they just hard switched back to 2. And like you can tell they were just like, we've lost our way, like let's just go back to what worked.
This is what worked. Yeah, this is what people
And
love.
like part of the thing that really annoyed me about 9 and 10, and I think I'm alone in this from talking to people, is that 9 and 10, they switched back to 2. Like they tried to replicate 2 as much as possible. But they actively gave up all this quality of life stuff they had been building up in their series in the meantime to go back to 2. So I was like, you're just making your game around difficulty. Like you gave up these quality of things. Like we didn't like Mega Man 2 because it was hard. That's not why we liked it. But like you can kind of tell they were like, nah, we got to get back to bare bones, man. So like you leave the Wily stages to go buy E-Tanks from the shop. You got to redo all the Wily stages. And I was like, 8, the game right before this, 8 didn't do that. Y'all actively gave up
Went
that
backwards.
quality of life of like letting us go get sub-tanks without having to redo all the Wily levels. Like y'all chose to not include that. So it's like, that's like part of that got me frustrated at the end. It's like the game itself's not that bad. It's like, but you can like tell it was designed more around difficulty. 9 and 10, like if you don't know the Mega Man games, you would probably not be able to tell the difference between them and 2. Like they look functionally identical. Like you might be able to be like, I don't recognize this level, and like I kind of know the levels from 2 or whatever, but like if you don't know them, you probably can't tell the difference.
Is 9 and 10 at least like widescreen HD like support, or did they still keep the 4:3?
I mean, so it does what a lot of the PlayStation do, because when I've been playing the Mega Man X ones, they're PlayStation games, but I'm playing them on the Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
They have like the Mega Man X Legacy collections where you just buy like that. What they do is I'll be playing them on a widescreen or whatever, but it's like a square in the middle of it.
Gotcha.
So like it keeps the same resolution, but it's not like, and there's just like Mega Man artwork on the side and stuff. That's what 9 and 10 are kind of like. Because again, they just tried to replicate 2. Like They just like same look, same style, same everything. So like it's just kind of like there's a bunch of nothing on the sides because like yeah, we have modern monitors now, but that's not what we're trying to make our game look like. So they didn't know how to do that without just like filling a bunch of stuff on the side. Man, I wasn't a big Mega Man fan.
Mega Man is like I don't know, like there's a lot of people that love it, but like I don't know, I haven't been.
I like I like my platformers faster, so like I like the Mega Man X series more than the Mega Man. I like SMW more than I like SMB3. I like them to be a little faster and crisper than like slow and methodical.
Like I know so I've played maybe Mega Man 1 and 2. That's about it. And my memories of those games are like, sure, you can do them hitless, but like, man, I feel like those games are made like with damage boosting in mind at times. Like there's just some parts it's like, I mean, other than somebody who's studied the game and like they just know when to just jump, it's just programmed in them. Like there's so much, and maybe it's a skill issue. I don't know. But it's like, I feel like the game is so wrapped around you just got the only way to get through this. You just got a damage boost and lose like 30, like 40% of your health. And then, you know, hopefully you'll get health later or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you're not terribly wrong, to be honest. I'm not saying doing a damageless is easier. It's obviously something I've never done, but it's definitely just for the most part of memorization. I don't know how random they are. I don't know a lot of the things, but yeah, there's a bunch of stuff is like, good luck getting through that. Just,
yeah.
That was also the style of game that like, as soon as you kill an enemy, if you happen to take one step back, the enemy respawns.
The second it's slightly off screen, that thing is instantly back and shooting at you.
Yes.
Like
that'll drive you nuts.
Immediately. Not like, I know SMW and stuff will be like that, but it's like not like the second it's not visible anymore. The second that little pixel that it normally spawns on is back on screen, it's back. Like, right. I know I say this as somebody who plays mostly retro games. I'm just not a big retro guy, I think. You know? A lot of the like, yeah, but it was a coin eater, or yeah, but like it was like they all just sound like excuses to me, you know? Like I get it, but I'm not like Super Goals and Goblins. I was watching you play that the other night, Ashley. Just seems miserable. And it's like, yeah, I get that it was meant to be a quarter reader and it was meant to be all these things. I understand the logic and the context, the consoles it was on. I understand I understand why it's like that. In my mind, it's just like, yeah, but it's still like that. Like
I played that game for an hour. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, whatever the heck it's called.
Awful.
I couldn't beat the first level.
Yeah,
in an hour.
That's an NES game or Super Nintendo?
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, the Super. Yeah. It has Super in the title. It's gotta be Super.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's gotta be Super Nintendo.
Because Ghosts and Goblins was also a game, right? And that's probably NES. Okay, got it.
Yep, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just our listeners will come for me.
The SNES one is still pretty BS though.
It was. Did you see the other?
So many
on
games
a console
from that era.
on a console full of amazing games. There's also stuff like Super Ghouls and Goblins.
Did you see the other weird game I played called Maniac Mansion?
Oh yeah, I know Maniac Mansion.
Yep.
Oh, okay. That was my first time. Like I had a friend of mine tell me to try it out. And
speedrunners love that game for some reason.
We ended up doing like a full playthrough, and I had no idea it was going to be a full playthrough, but like my audience and I just had such a good time like trying to figure out. It's a point and click NES game, and you have all like certain options like open, give, like to walk in certain places, but like there's just it was like the most weird and wonderful game I have ever played. And none of it made sense at all. None of the game made sense whatsoever. You needed to put a stamp on an envelope. So of course you had to go get a glass of water and an envelope and then put them in the microwave together and then put the stamp so that it would stick. Right? Because that's what you do.
Yeah. That's what I do.
I feel like it was made by somebody who lived exclusively in the 60s or the 50s. Like, what do you mean? This is how we do all our stamps.
I can't.
Sure thing, Granddad.
I mean, to a degree, that I've played a few point and clicks, and I feel like all of them have something like
Point
that.
and
You know,
clicks
like so
all have.
ridiculous. What did I play a number of years ago? Before I was even like on streaming or anything like that, I played Day of the Tentacle.
That's the next one.
Is it?
That's the game after it. I'm playing that. That's the sequel.
Oh,
to
I didn't realize that those two were connected.
That's a sequel, yeah.
I played Day of the Tentacle. There was like an HD remake on Steam, and so I bought it. And like I got through, you know, I was feeling like, okay, I'm pretty smart. I somehow I connected that worked, and then eventually I hit a wall, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I looked up, I was like, how is anybody supposed to figure out to combine these 7 things in this trash can or something? Like how, I don't know. Like it was just a different time, I guess, where people just had nothing to do but just click on things on their computer or something. I don't know.
My audience has asked me to play this game, so I will be playing the Day of the Tentacle.
It is a well-made HD
point.
remake, so you can get it on Steam and make it look nice and crispy.
Okay.
It was well made.
I can't remember the last time I played a point and click game. The only point and click thing, there is one other game I've played recently that I forgot about, which was UFO 50.
Oh yeah, people are loving that one.
Touching that one right now.
UFO 50, I didn't love it as much as a lot of people loved it. I did like it. The issue with UFO 50 again is it's a big collection of retro games, and as I've said before, I'm not as big of a retro.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the games in UFO 50 to me felt like there'd be a game that plays a lot like Gradius 3, but in my head, all I think of is like Gradius 3 does this better. Like
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
But like there's a bunch of games in UFO 50 that were like so sneakily good because it's just a collection of 50 different games that are like all made in a retro style.
There's something that I heard about UFO 50 that I didn't realize is that, because I haven't played it. Whenever I tune into a stream, it's just somebody playing it, so I don't know much about like the background of it. But what I didn't realize is that the UFO itself is supposed to be like the console, right? And it's like this thing where it's like basically you're playing an entire generation. Like you start it up. There's this company called the UFO or whatever, and you have the UFO. And it's like if you play the games in order, technically it's supposed to be like this is the first game they released, and then years later they came out with this. But this game here later had a sequel that like years later down here, and you can see the differences between the games and stuff, like the things they did.
Cool.
Like it's actually like you're following the development of like a company almost, and like they're bringing in new ideas and they're trying new things, and then they bring up sequels to games that supposedly did well in their, you know, in their own little company and stuff. Like it's actually a really cool idea that something like that they did it, you know. That's
a really cool idea. The problem is that I don't think I know a single soul who booted up UFO 50 and played all the games in order.
No.
You just pick random games.
Yep.
Like why would you play them in order? That's like the most boring thing to do.
Yep.
So like,
I fully agree.
I guess that I was like, yeah, that could very well be true. No one knows because no one played it in order.
Nope. Nobody knows. Like I didn't know it either. Like I've only tuned in when I see like a streamer maybe playing a couple games here and there, and I just see games being played. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, as I read about it, I was like, I mean, the concept is really cool that exists, but it's like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some of those games, like I don't want to touch any of those games.
Yeah. And I mean that's like kind of the beauty of it to me is like you run into a game you don't want to play. You can just stop playing and go play one of the other 50 games. A lot of them like,
true.
It's kind of like finding the hidden gems. Like Party House is
I was gonna say Party House
the MVP
is
of that game
favorite.
as far as I'm concerned. It's just a sneakily good deck builder.
Yeah,
like, that's all it is, and it's really fun.
Absolutely.
And I'm not even a big like huge deck builder person, but yeah, it was super fun. But there's a ton of games that are really fun. But yeah, so I guess that one too. Did play some UFO 50.
Yeah, that one's really popular right now. A lot of people playing it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's really easy to like one, there's just so much content. And then two, like when you can what's called cherry a game, which is like their equivalent of like platinuming it or 100%ing it.
Okay.
But you're not getting like achievements for the game. It's like a single condition to cherry a game. And some of them are longer, some of them are harder. So you'll see people that are like, I have like 20 cherries or whatever. That's like they've done the hard thing for that game kind of deal. So like it kind of appeals to that like achievement hunter almost mindset as well, if you want it to. So it's easy to sink time into, I think, because of that as well.
Right.
It's a great game.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a cool one to play. Before we close out the podcast, because we are coming down on time here, there is a top 10 list that Ashley had proposed that might be a fun thing for us to try to figure out here. Ashley, you want to share some information on it?
So I watch these guys on TikTok and they're hysterical, and they do a ton of like one person hosts, and they'll say, can you two figure out the top 10 list of this category of video game, top 10 Switch games, or, the top 10 horror games or whatever. And I was like listening through, and I saw one that I thought was like, not just like a good list, but a list that like I actually agreed with, that made sense to me. I thought it'd be fun to see if you guys could figure out this list. It comes to us from IGN. Okay. And it is the top 10 Super Nintendo games of all time. And this is like enjoyment, fun, like games.
Yeah.
According to IGN.
Yep. Not by sales, but by like ratings, basically.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And
critically acclaimed. Okay.
Exactly.
Our arbiters of value and entertainment. IGN. Gotcha. I'm ready.
All right.
So
I guess
let's see if you boys can figure it out.
We can start off with an obvious one. Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Links to the Past, number 1.
Okay.
Number 1
is like Poncho's second favorite game, Super Metroid.
Super Metroid?
That has to be.
Is coming in at number 3. Okay. Number 3, Super Metroid.
So number 2 would have to be Mighty Mouse's favorite game, SMW.
I bet
SMW.
I bet that's
not number 2.
Not number 2.
In the top 10.
Not number 4. Dude. But number 5. Okay. SMW number coming in at number 5. Not bad.
There's so many good SNES games. There's so like you're like, of course, but then I'm about to name some that you're like, oh yeah, no, that might be like, where's Chrono Trigger?
Chrono Trigger? Number 2.
I was wondering if that was going to be.
Number 2.
That would have been my second number 2 guess.
There's like 3 or 4 RPGs that could like all be in the top 10 on the SNES.
Yeah.
What about
for sure.
Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island?
Yoshi's Island is number 7. It's
on
there. Okay.
It's on there.
I'm mainly surprised that they went with like duplicates from the same series.
Yeah.
I thought they would have been like, we have our Mario game. What do you mean? We can't put 2 in the top 10.
Oh,
okay.
You'd be surprised.
You take one, Mighty Mouse. You go.
Yeah. I'm going to take the easy one. I'll take the easy one. Is Donkey Kong Country 2 up there?
Donkey Kong Country 2? Not on the list.
It's probably one of the other ones.
Donkey Kong Country.
Not there.
No.
Okay, IGN. I see how we're doing things.
Not on the list.
Give me a Final Fantasy 6.
Final Fantasy 6 coming in at number 4.
So we have.
I thought you weren't going to get that one. That's good.
That's why it's one of the 4 RPGs.
I have 2 in mind. One of them might be on there. I'm going to say the one I think might not be on there, but it kicked off a humongous series. Mario Kart. I think you're going to get it.
Super Mario Kart,
probably
number 8.
Really? Yeah. Okay, I didn't think it would be on there. Okay,
another Mario.
Just for historical value.
Yeah, I mean, it kicked off one of the biggest selling franchises ever. Yeah. No, it's not a good game. Yep. It's not good.
It's rough to watch. There's another game that's rough to watch that I don't want to guess, but like there's a chance it's there, but I don't want to guess.
Okay.
I'll go with one that I don't know. This one's hit or miss. It kind of always just depends on people who are making the list. Mega Man X there?
Mega Man X not on this list.
See that?
How many do we have left?
You have 6, 9, and 10 left.
6, 9, and
okay.
10.
I'm gonna go with my other one. I don't know if this is gonna be on here. F-Zero.
F-Zero, not on the list.
Okay. I had a feeling it probably wouldn't be, but I had to throw it out there.
Not there. One of these games I've never played, actually. One of these games I've never played. Many people
I don't know
have,
if that means it's a popular game or not.
It's popular.
Okay.
It's definitely popular.
So you said we're missing 6, 7, and 9?
6, 9, and 10.
Okay, so we're only missing 3.
I've had good luck with my RPGs. I'm going to keep on it. Super Mario RPG.
The last Mario on this list, Super Mario RPG, is at number 10.
I didn't even think to name that one.
Of course, we have 6 and 9 left.
Okay.
Nice.
I don't expect this to be on here, but I'm going to say because it's on a technical level, probably the most impressive thing. Star Fox.
That was the
Star
one.
Fox, number 9.
That was the one I didn't. That was the one I didn't want to name, by the way, Poncho. That was
it. Okay.
Yep.
Because
it runs at like 3 frames per second.
I've never seen a game that's more headache inducing than SNES Star Fox.
It hurts.
And I love Star Fox on the 64. SNES Star Fox is rough.
You guys are killing it.
So we're missing one, and it's right in the smack dab.
Right in the center, number 6. Yep.
Middle of a top 10.
None of the Donkey Kong games are there. And
can I give one hint though? One hint.
Is this the one you said you have not played?
No, Star Fox is the one I've not played. I've definitely played this game.
Definitely played this game.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like one of those like Super Mario All-Stars or something?
Nope.
So it's not a collection type
thing. Like technically.
I will say your one hint is it is a sequel.
There's no way they did Donkey Kong Country 3, right? That would be silly. Over 1 and 2. That would be nonsense.
It's a sequel.
Okay, don't look at the chat. Don't look at the chat because someone got it.
I'm not looking at the chat.
I'm trying to think. So
I've seen that corner of my eye, probably guessing. I haven't looked.
No, there's no Zelda sequels left. There's no Mario sequels left.
No Mario, no Zelda.
Yeah, no Mario.
Did the first game release on Super Nintendo or was it on NES?
I have to look. I think maybe the audience can help me, but I think the first one was Super Nintendo. I'm going to look right now.
Okay, because that could help maybe whittle it down to.
Saying I think means it's probably not one of the ones that I was thinking of. Because I guessed the first one in the series.
Yeah.
You did.
It was indeed. None of the Donkey Kong ones. It's not a Zelda or it's not a Mario. It's not. I'm trying to go through the biggest hits here. It's probably not an RPG.
It is not.
We're not going to have a sequel.
It's something we've. Oh wait. Mortal Kombat 2.
It's not Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay. Street Fighter 2.
It is Street Fighter 2.
There it is. I was like, as soon as I said Mortal Kombat 2, I was like, wait, Street Fighter. It has to be.
I think it should have been Mortal Kombat 2 as well. But
I agree 100%. I'll play Mortal Kombat 2 over Street Fighter 2 any day, but I feel like most people are on the other side of that coin for sure.
I mean, I think the only egregious part of that list is like maybe SNES Star Fox over like Donkey Kong Country 2. Like you needed a Donkey Kong Country in there.
That is surprising.
Like
that is
surprising. I understand the franchise wasn't like huge after that or whatever. And I mean like a lot of the games that came after it were like DK64, which aren't universally loved.
Sure.
But like got it.
So for the listeners, the top 10 was from 1 to 10. Link to the Past, Chrono Trigger, Super Metroid, Final Fantasy VI, Super Mario World, Street Fighter 2, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Kart, Star Fox, and SM RPG.
Just all bangers.
Great list, I think.
Top to bottom.
I think those are good.
Yeah. Yep.
Except for Star Fox.
that one I think it's only because of what it achieved. I think that's why why it's rated highly. It's
100%.
Not a good game. Nobody's played past the first level. Let's be serious here. Nobody's has. With that said, let's do a quick roundtable here. Let's as we close the episode here, we'll go around the room here. This is our chance to talk about what we're doing, where people can find us, if there's anything cool coming up that we have planned, or maybe we're doing something cool on a different platform or something like that. We just want to let people know this is our time to do that. Ashley, let's start with you.
Is this like the ending, or is this a round table?
Well, both. Let's do both.
Do both. Okay. Really, the only thing I didn't get to talk about this episode that I did want to mention really quick was it was October, right? So with October, you get to play all the games that you don't get to play all year long, which I tried to take advantage of this year and do, I do scary content, but people don't like it. They're like, I don't want it. It's too scary. I don't want to watch it. So I was like, what can I do that's kind of like baby scary? And there's this game that I have loved for my entire life called Escape from Horrorland. It's a Goosebumps PC game from the 90s. I still have my 2 discs of it like in my apartment. But found a way, thanks to the help from Punch Taco, to like emulate DOS, and I emulated Windows on my computer, my Windows 95 on my computer, and I was able to play this game. And you play as these kids and you're going through Horrorland, you're trying to figure out how to get out and stuff like that. I did not think it was going to be as big of a crowd pleaser as it was, but people loved it. And I was so like, I wanted to stream this game since I started streaming. So it was super cool. I finally got to do something like that. I also played like Pajama Sam. Like I tried to like make it like Halloween, like semi scary, but like not. So I kind of did like a 90s retro Halloween party in my stream. And that was super fun. But other than that, currently right now you can find me on twitch.tv/Ashley with 2 E's _FL. I stream Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I do a lot of SMW Kaizo during the weekends. I'm doing retro. I'm finishing up Paper Mario tonight. We're going on to the remake of Thousand Year Door, which I haven't played yet, which I'm so excited for. And Sundays, I'm also always doing Ocarina of Time randos. You can go to ashleyfl.com. I have a community day coming up, a 12-hour community day stream coming up on the 23rd of November. And I'm also doing what I'm calling Christmas in Florida week. Ponch is going to be out of town for a week, and I tend to take his shifts when he's gone. So I'll be streaming every single night from November 26th through December 2nd.
Great. Mighty Mouse, where can our viewers find you? What do you have coming up?
You can find me pretty much everywhere. Mr. Mighty Mouse, like cartoon, but Mr. No weird spellings or anything. We're finishing up. I was going to say, by the time this comes out on podcast, we may be done with Elden Ring, because we're literally on the final boss tonight. I hope I'm not on it like for multiple days. That'll be the longest I was on any Elden Ring boss for sure.
Wow.
We also need to finish the Mega Man X marathon. We have one final game to play. That's going to be a train wreck as well. I think in the near future, and I got to get this set up, we need to do our modded Skyrim playthrough. Because what I'm doing the modded Skyrim playthrough is I'm not modding it. I'm sending a spreadsheet to a bunch of free streamer friends and or people who like are familiar with modding it at all. And I'm just going to tell them to fill it with the silliest whatever mods they want. And I'm going to have a friend compile all the mods for me. And then I'm going to do a full Skyrim playthrough, not knowing what the mods are ahead of time. So they'll know, like, there obviously won't be anything like TOS breaking.
Sure.
But like, there's so many goofy mods for Skyrim. Like, you can replace the dragons with Thomas the Tank Engines. You can make shopkeepers. There's like a million things you can do.
That's a fun idea.
That one might be down the road though, because that's just going to take time to get set up.
Yeah.
So,
and then you got to make sure all the mods are compatible and everything like that. So yeah.
And Mario, I'm assuming this upcoming week we'll be mostly done with Elden Ring, and we'll probably check out a lot of the hacks that I haven't gotten to. So yeah, Mr. Mighty Mouse everywhere.
Awesome.
Stream every day, except for Mondays and Thursdays.
Awesome. You guys can find me, twitch.tv/PonchoTaco. We're going to finish SMZ3 on Sunday. If you're catching this live, you'll know about that. If you're catching the released episode, it'll be too late. It'll be completed by then. And then we're going to be moving on to the next game, which we'll probably talk about on Sunday. What I'm doing next. I already made a little promo art for it and everything. So it'll be fun. One other thing though, before we go, I want to mention is that also during the month of October, Ashley and I co-opted and played through Resident Evil 5. First blind playthrough for both of us. Had no idea going into it. It was Ashley. It was your very first Resident Evil game ever, correct?
It was. And I will just say, I definitely want to play more Resident Evils in the future. I had such a blast, not just because I was playing with you, like, and it was so awesome that you and I finally got to like solo games together, like for the first time in all of our years of friendship on Twitch. But the game itself was just awesome. It was a great time.
It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Not my favorite Resident Evil game, but it was a great time playing co-op and everything. Like a ton of fun. If you missed that playthrough, you can find it on YouTube. It's on my channel. There's a playlist. It has both of our cameras on there, both of our gameplay perspectives, so you're not missing what somebody else is doing or anything like that. It's a really fun viewing experience. So go check it out if you want to. If you missed it and you want to check it out, or you missed a night or something, it's all archived on there. You can go check it out there. Really, really, really fun time. With that said, this has been episode 27. MrMightyMouse, thank you so much for coming back. This was awesome.
It was nice to be on.
And with that, we will see you guys in episode 28 in about a month. Adios, everybody. Have a good one. We'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.